He always said he loved the silence of the woods. The way the trees stood like ancient guardians, the way the air smelled clean and sharp. But silence has a way of hiding things you're not supposed to notice. The man's name was Daniel. After a painful breakup and the loss of his job, he decided to move away from the city. He bought a small, rotting cabin deep inside the forest, miles from the nearest road. The first week was peaceful chopping firewood, cooking simple meals, sleeping early. He felt like he was healing, but on the 8th night, he woke up. Not from a nightmare, not from a sound, but from the sensation that someone was standing right next to his bed. He didn't open his eyes right away. He just lay still, listening. His heartbeat pounded in his ears. Finally, he forced himself to look. There was nothing, only the dark outline of the room and the faint creaks of old wood. He laughed at himself in the morning. Just nerves, he muttered. But deep down, he didn't believe that. The following nights, it happened again. Always at 3 a.m. sharp. The feeling that he wasn't alone. Sometimes, he swore he could hear breathing. Other times, a faint shuffle on the wooden floorboards. Yet, every time he looked, the room was empty. On the 12th night, something changed. He left his lantern burning before bed, determined to prove himself wrong. At exactly 3 a.m., his eyes shot open. The lantern was out, snuffed as if someone had leaned over and blown it out. His blood froze, and then he heard it. The sound of a voice, right by his ear. Not a whisper, not words, just a slow exhale. He jumped up, grabbing his axe, swinging it wildly at the air. But there was no one there, nothing. The cabin door was still locked. The windows shut tight. No footprints, no signs of entry. By sunrise, Daniel was trembling. He almost packed his things to leave, but stubbornness kept him there. "This is my home," he whispered, though his voice shook. That day, while gathering wood, he noticed something disturbing. On the far side of the cabin wall, in the damp soil, were footprints. Bare feet, small, like a child's. They led directly up to the wall and stopped as if the person had walked straight through it. That night, he didn't sleep. He sat by the window with his axe, watching the woods. The forest was silent, too silent. At 3 a.m., the lantern flickered. And then he saw it, reflected in the glass of the window. A pale face standing behind him. He spun around, empty, nothing but shadows. But the reflection had smiled. The next morning, he nailed every window shut. Boarded up the cracks, locked the door with chains. But on the 17th night, the sound came again. Not breathing this time. Not footsteps, but giggling, a child's giggle inside the walls. He pressed his ear to the wood and heard it, tiny hands, scratching from the inside. Moving through the cabin walls, circling him. That was the knife he tried to leave. He stuffed clothes into a bag, grabbed his lantern, and yanked the chains off the door. But when he swung it open, the forest wasn't there. Instead, staring back at him was another cabin. The same broken shutters, the same rotten roof, the same boards on the windows. He stepped outside, hard hammering. The woods around him looked wrong. Every tree was bent, twisted, like they'd grown watching him. And when he turned back, there were two cabins now. Side by side, both identical. The giggling started again, this time from both cabins. Like something was waiting for him inside each. He ran. He didn't care where, just deeper into the woods. Branches whipped his face, roots clawed at his feet, but he didn't stop. Finally, gasping, he collapsed against a tree, but when he looked up, the cabin was there again. Always there, no matter how far you ran. The door creaked open, and a voice, high, childlike, called out, "Come back inside. You left us behind." That was the last anyone ever saw of Daniel. Months later, hikers found the cabin abandoned. The axe still on the table, the bed neatly made. But the boards on the windows, they were scratched from the inside. And if you go there at 3 a.m., you'll hear it too. The sound of children giggling. and the slow breath of something standing right behind you. If you like this story, subscribe and turn on notifications, because there's always another terrifying story waiting in the dark.